Manny
This is a
Fernandez.
debate. I
It's a
challenged him
debate.
to a debate because he had a great idea.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to point out a few things, and then he's going to decide for himself. If he's a humble entrepreneur and a sharp guy, logical thinker, he would think through what I'm saying and come up with a new idea. Versus the moment he hears it and then he wants to sell me on that idea, even though it may be incorrect. So let's see what happens here. And selling is important because what it is when you're telling a story, if it's the right story, the right combination, the money comes to you. So some people think selling is, I'm going to overwhelm you with the wrong information. So hopefully by the end of this thing, you'll understand how to get the right information in people's minds and the money comes to you. So you can be building a business worried about raising the money. Let's get started.
Let's get started. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to start with a story here. A few years ago, in '80, there was an earthquake.
And in my mind, I'm thinking, who cares?
Sure.
Get to the point.
Yeah, so that earthquake, a kid decided to build an app to save the lost relative.
And I'm still waiting, what's in it for me?
Okay, first, who are you?
He's obviously not from Puerto Rico.
First, who are you?
I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm familiar with what's going on, but I'm still trying to figure out how does it relate to your startup?
Sure. So the kid
I got
decided.
nervous now all of a sudden when you're on the camera. Big man?
I'm always.
You go to you
always.
guys. You guys forget I'm
So the kid called Yahoo and decided to ask Yahoo to build an app, right? And Yahoo said no, whatever. He went to a hackathon and he was able in 24 hours to build an app, and the app was useful to save those lives.
Congratulations.
So there is a there's power into hackathon.
I'm not saying there's
Right?
not.
And I really think that a hackathon can be used to solve to bring people together.
I agree
To
with you.
bring people together. First, to learn, and maybe innovation come out of that.
Right.
Right? Hackathon can be used to help people to recruit people. So my startup is trying to use hackathon as a recruitment tool, as a networking tool, and maybe as a crowdfunding tool for this project.
Okay, let me stop for a moment. That's a good point. So if I understand you correctly,
Yeah.
I'm going to sum up exactly what he said to
Yeah.
make sure I heard it correctly.
Yeah.
You're saying you want to create a hackathon because there's a lot of great value networks coming together.
No.
Hold on. You're going to use a hackathon because there's a lot of great value coming together, and maybe you do crowdfunding for that hackathon.
I want to connect the crowdfund world to hackathon
Crowdfunding
projects.
role.
Yeah. It means,
Hackathon
it means the world should be watching those hackathon projects live, like Shark Tank.
Really?
And then funding.
That's another thing. For one at a time,
Yeah.
because you can't handle all the punches that are going to come. One at a time. First one is crowdfunding, complex. Second one is hackathons. Third one is you're going to somehow stream it.
Oh no, forget about the streaming. I was just saying people will be,
You sure?
like quick Kickstarter. You just know about it because of the popularity.
Small disclosure in advance, so let you know if you want to continue. I am an expert in equity crowdfunding, and
Come on, that's unfair.
it's unfair, but it's a good thing to point out to you, so you can see the flaws. It'll make you a stronger entrepreneur.
Sure, yeah.
So when you leave here, you're like, wow. Then next time you're telling someone a story, the money changes hands. They're not going to tell you what's going on. That's the problem with Silicon Valley, by the way.
Right.
Especially when we look like this, dead serious, right? So at Stanford, there's a course, and it's specifically taught is that when an entrepreneur comes to you with an idea that somehow you don't like because whatever the reason, you don't tell them why. You just say, I'm not interested, and you move on. And I was struggling behind that. I'm like, why is that? They said, because it starts a conversation. And you don't want to have a conversation because these people are real passionate and they want to overcome your objection and explain to you why you're wrong. Next thing you know, you're old and you have no time because they took it all away from you. But I think it's unfair for people like yourself with great desire. You can see it in the eye. A fighter, you want to win. You just need to know what skills to do it step by step. And you're doing it based on your own mind, but most people don't slow down and say, maybe what you're missing.
Right.
So do you know, now let me do an IQ test here. Not an IQ test, it's called a market test. Right. This is what investors do to see it. This guy even knows what he's talking about, okay?
Right.
Because he has to be an expert. So have you heard of a company called Startup Weekend?
Yes.
What is Startup Weekend?
Startup Weekends, they organize a hackathon.
Perfect. Number one.
Yeah.
Who owns Startup Weekend now?
I think it's Techstar.
Techstar,
right?
very good. So why did Techstars buy them?
Because Techstar is an incubator, and I don't know why they bought it, but it makes sense that you have to do a startup demo. So this is a complementary for the business. Right?
Very good. Deal flow, you're absolutely correct. They were doing it for exactly the same reasons.
Right.
Because Techstars is a venture fund.
Right.
They have a little school called an incubator.
Right.
So that's one deal flow mechanism to get them into that situation.
Right.
And then they can fund them.
Right.
There's no funding problems, by the way. Meaning the good companies get funded.
Right.
The bad ones, they're only bad because they're not packaged correctly.
Yeah, but
Notice that
who
for a
are
moment.
judging
Notice
them?
Notice that. So if I'm an entrepreneur, and when I was young, the moment I heard it, I jumped in. You're wrong, investor.
No,
I
no,
want
no,
your
no,
money,
no,
but
no,
I'm
no, no,
wrong.
no. You're right. You're right. I'm gonna just add some nuance here. You heard about the
Who has
wisdom.
the money here? You or
Oh
me?
yeah, he has the money.
So that, you gotta think through what I said, even though you don't fucking like it. You're
He
like,
has the money. Chill. But
and then you don't want to say but. You want to say,
Yeah.
and form it as a question.
Yeah, but if I put myself as a startup will need money, I'm more like an advocate to enlighten people on what's actually the true problem.
Perfect.
I'm an advocate.
I want you. Can you help me?
Sure.
Help me and you and many other people in your network to advocate the right way of raising money, the right way of going from zero to your first million.
Right.
I'm trying to explain it to you so you
Yeah.
can understand it,
Yeah,
use
yeah.
it, and tell others.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you like me to help you with
Please,
that?
yeah, go ahead.
That's what I'm doing with this video.
Yeah,
So the first thing is, when I was younger, hothead fighter, someone would say something and I know they're wrong and I would come back and attack. Their emotions would get up. Their guard would get up. Their guard is up, right? And they're blocking it. The punches are not coming through. And I got more mature and I took martial arts, jiu-jitsu, and many others. What I learned is that when you see the flaw, you don't want to let them know that the punch is coming.
Yeah.
They want their guard down, just like this gentleman, and then you strike it. So the reason I bring this up is that if he saw a flaw in me, he would just think back and say, think about it as a question. So what about it this way? Or what would a third party say about this? So therefore, you're not attacking my idiot idea. If I tell you the sky is green,
Don't.
and you're like, nah, but I have scientific proof. I'm the money. You're hurting my feelings. My ego goes up. So you say, you know what, by the way, then you ask the question why I'm wrong, and then let me think. Don't get a guy's guard up. Just like fighting. If I'm insulting you, you're going to block, right? You don't want me to block. You want the information to go from your head to me with no block. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
And notice how at the end of what I said, does that make sense? Make them agree
Right.
before I move forward to the next subject.
It's like dating a girl.
It's dating the mind. It's all about the mind. A woman is emotional, more emotional than men. They have to because they have kids. Remember that. And remember when we're born, the first thing that takes place in our mom's stomach is our heart beats first before the brain. Therefore, we're highly emotional. We're emotional, so if you tell me I'm wrong, what do you think I'm going to be? Happy about that?
Right.
Am I going to be happy or am I going to be mad? Right? You don't want no emotions. You want my emotions down, or you're influencing me, just like a girl. Get her guard down. You do it by step. How can I, boom, first meeting, you follow up. If things go well, it goes in steps, just like a woman. Women is an exact version of how an investor is, because an investor is the hot model. Everyone wants its money, from the best idea to the worst idea. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Right. Okay, so what do you say?
Where are we in this progress? Is he still pitching at this point?
No. I think I got this point now.
Okay. So let's
What was
try.
his point? Make sure you let the camera know what you
tell me
think
what
in your
you
head.
I got-
heard, right? Tell me
So
what you heard.
we switch the conversation to how to pitch an investor the right way, and because I was defensive, I was kind of on guard and trying to, fight back, and I learned that I can do it even better. That's what I got from this conversation. But I'm gonna get back to my idea then. I'm passionate about hackathon because I think it can help Africa, but I
agree with you.
I can pivot, I can do anything, but there is something true about this event
I agree with you.
that in 20 years it's been around. That
If I already agree, why would we keep talking about it?
That's true.
Like if you call up a girl and like, can you go on a date? And she's like, yes. Can we go on a date? Yes.
Yes.
Can we go on a date? Yes.
And where are you
Get
gonna
to
go?
the point.
Where are you going to go next?
What do you want from the girl?
So
Don't waste this guy's
for
time.
me,
Hold the mic. Don't hold the mic.
sorry. So in my next step right now, I'm raising money right now. I'm raising 1.5 million.
Okay, I'm raising $1 trillion. It doesn't effing matter.
Doesn't matter.
Tell you why it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because imagine I go up to a girl, hey, let's get married. What's she gonna think? Right? You're probably, hey, wait a minute, you're missing a few steps.
You should be more like, let's get a coffee, a date or something. Like, you know.
Make sure there's a value for both parties.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the value part was
I like making money.
money. Yeah, so the value part.
So
was,
I don't see a business model yet. I see that you're passionate.
Right.
I see that you're an advocate. Great. No dollar signs are clicking in my head. I put $1 in.
Right.
It goes because you're a passionate guy from Africa and an advocate. You never said, this is how we're going to make money. Say we're different than, say, I gave you Techstars and Startup Weekend. We're different because maybe Techstars is for the small handful of tall white males. They get funded.
Yeah.
And it's all based on their friends connecting to them, this tall white male. And they're excluding the shorter brown guys to get funded.
Yeah.
And even though they're talented hackathon people, the judges are choosing, so therefore they move forward to Techstars, and Techstars are playing by the rules, which is their money. They can do what the fuck they want to do.
Yep.
Why you're bitching and complaining?
Right.
You have a problem, understand the money. So if there's crowdfunding, and you're like, the story is you're going to fund underrepresented founders that are hidden jewels in the ecosystem of hackathons, and you believe that Uber and Airbnb doesn't necessarily have to come from the same minds. It can come from people that look like us.
Venmo came from hackathon.
Perfect.
Venmo came from hackathon.
The founder.
Right.
You got to study who the founders were. That's, you got to find your angle in life.
Right.
Your angle, not someone else's angle.
Right.
If you don't know the names of the founder of Venmo, if you don't know their race, you don't know their school, you're at a great disadvantage.
I see what you
because the network moves them forward. You know about networks like family. So what I'm saying is your angle has got to be, I'm going to do a crowdfunding site. It's going to focus on the underrepresented founders that are in hackathons. We're going to fund them before Techstars does, or maybe work with Techstars, but we're going to help them first. Because they can't see them because of how we look. That's a niche no one's really working on because no one cares.
Nobody cares.
They want to copy, like, look at the tall white male that just went public not long ago. Like you just said that. That's 10 years too late. Many, maybe hundreds of millions to get there. There's companies that are private in Silicon Valley that I'm an investor in. Some lose millions a month. Because they're little boy backed them. So if you're like, we're looking for the underrepresented founders that are hidden in the hackathons, and we're going to get them funded through crowdfunding, and we think the next big thing's going to happen here, because no one has proven it yet. Then you understand that message. Then you target someone that looks like me. Then the emotions say, wow, I remember being that guy.
That makes sense.
And now, is that something you're passionate in? You make sure I say yes. And then you're magically raising a 1.5 million.
It should be me, man.
I am you. I am giving you the tools so you can fight. I'm showing you how to fight versus you're just throwing punches. So while you're hoping it lands, I'm giving you very specific ways to do it. So when you watch the video and you listen to it, and you're like, "Is this correct?"
That's correct. That's he said
you can raise my hand as a winner. That'd be fine. Thank you. We'll both win.
He did everything that I said in a year in few words. I used those words, among like 1,000 sentences, and you managed just to do it like in. It's just amazing how people can be smart.
Well, let me just explain 1 second. This is something I never showed on camera ever. Right?
Sure.
So I'm not. First off, for the camera, I'm not fighting you. I'm not. This is just an
challenge. I love challenge.
No, physically, I'm going to do something. I'm not fighting you.
Sure.
So the old way, I would put my hands up. If I put my hands up, and what would you do? What would you do? You put your hands up.
I would do the same thing, right?
I don't want him to fucking fight me, right? So in martial arts, one of the techniques I learned, which is really brilliant, it was like, hey, I don't want no problems. I don't want no problems. I don't want no problems. Notice his hand doesn't go up. But what people don't see, these little fingers here can hit him in his eye. Like, boom. He will be blinded. Can't see, can't fight. And then that's number one. Second step, then I go to the throat. His big arms never hit me because he's not seeing it coming. That's what you want to think about when you're interacting with people. It's not that you're tricking them. It's that you want their guard down so they can hear the story. Let me give you a story about his company in the future. Here it goes like this. But I guess I want to sum it up is, there once was a guy named Kabul. I made it up, right? Kabul was a young man from Africa. He was in a poor person, but he had a unique desire. He saw riches in his mind. He wanted a better life for his family. He was very, very upset at this, and he wanted something better. So he was able to sneak out of Africa, come here in America, the greatest place on earth, because he read a lot of articles about everyone becoming great success. And then he found out that those people that were greatly successful, they didn't look like him, and there's so many barriers he did not realize. But he didn't stop at that. He said, you know what? I'm not going to just die, because everyone is born and everyone dies, but I'm going to make my life a life that changes things. So he thinks about many people that are just like him in Africa, many people that are underprivileged that want a shot at hope, but they don't have the one little thing called capital to do it. So, but where are these people at? The talented people. They're not at bars. They're not at clubs. They're at hackathons. So this guy decided to create an organization to network within the hackathons, so then he can then expose how great they are on a crowdfunding site, target the people that care. And the funniest thing is, that started 3 years ago. Now there's 2 founders that sold their company. One was listed in Forbes about how he sold it for over $100 million. And if it wasn't for that guy getting started and the many just donors and backers helping it, seeing the cause, because they want to see more people that look like him on the front cover of the Forbes magazine, you can support it now. I'm going to charge you for that video. But that's the script.
That was